What's up everyone, Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick and I am back with part 2 of my top 40 albums of 2020, the year that sucked everything all the time. So again, a lot of great releases this year. There's definitely some I looked over that didn't quite make the list, but still think I got a pretty solid list here, and I try to keep it nice and varied because, man, a lot of stuff across different subgenres all throughout metal this year. So let's get it started. Benediction Scriptures. This is my comeback album of 2020. Benediction came back with an album that I think is on par with their early releases. It's even close to as good as Transcend the Rubicon, which is a underground death metal favorite of mine. Everything you love about Benediction is back, including Dave Ingram, who sounds incredible on this. He roars, he spits, and just snarls all throughout this. Loads of groove, big thrashy hooks, tons of great riffs, tons of memorable songs. Loved every second of this album, and it definitely reaffirmed why I'm still a fan of these guys, even through the rough years. I knew they still had it in them to make an absolutely amazing album once again, and they did it. They made an absolutely killer album, and it is one of my favorites of 2020 for sure. Unfortunately, there are others that I thought were a little bit better, but comeback album of the year at least, right here. Number 24, because that was number 25 and I didn't say it, or at least I don't think I said it. Either way, 24, Hellripper, The Affair of the Poisons. This is one of the best black and thrash albums I heard all year. This is so fast and high energy. I absolutely love pretty much this entire album, but Beyond the Convent Walls and Savage Blasphemy is one of my favorite 1-2 punches on here. This is pretty much like R Noir and then throw in Metallica's Kill 'Em All, because it has those same kinds of black metal feel and like riffs. Flat out Metallica riffs, Kill 'Em All riffs. It's just absolutely awesome. Vocals are a little like, you know, echoey, but I kind of like that. It kind of fits with the atmosphere. It's really the most blackened part of this because everything else is full tilt thrash. And this is a one-man band and he plays everything really, really well. Awesome release. I definitely need to get more of their stuff. This is the only Hellripper I own, and that needs to change because if any of their other releases are as great as this, I need to get them, flat out. And so do you. Get this. It's good. Shrapnel, Palace for the Insane. This is, I think, honestly, their best album. And this is a very young band. I believe this is only their third release. And wow. Songwriting, dynamics, every song is very different, and Jesus, man, these guys know how to write some killer thrash hooks. These guys pretty much run the gamut of thrash as far as styles. You get long, big epics that are big, slow builders. You get absolute nasty, heavy songs like Cannibal. Cannibal absolutely rips. This shows a lot of songwriting maturity, which, you know, the other releases I thought were also very good, but they were definitely progressing towards something a little bit more polished, but they still retain all that thrashy energy from their first ones and still just came out swinging on here and showed off that there is a lot to this band. Definitely check this out. This is definitely one of the best thrash releases of the year for sure. Lik Misanthropic Breed. As far as HM2 Swedish death metal, this is my favorite release of that style this year. These guys are pretty much all veterans of the scene, and they've definitely toured and played with a lot of different bands. I think even Bloodbath was in there, and that seems very appropriate because this screams Bloodbath. But the thing that they do really well is mix that with like just a touch of mellow death, just enough for melody, and it just comes across as like these amazing heavy songs with great hooks in them. Female Fatal to the Flesh might be one of my favorite songs this year, not only because of the pun title for Morbid Angel, but just because that has some of the heaviest riffs I've heard in this style in a minute, or at least since the last time I listened to some Swedish death metal. These guys nail the sound 100%. It is Swedish as fuck, and that's exactly what I wanted out of this, and they nailed it. It absolutely kills every song. Vader, Solitude and Madness. Vader came back in a big way. I really was not a huge fan of their last release, and I was kind of afraid maybe Vader is finally slowing up, because slowing up is a thing that just didn't seem possible for Vader. They are almost always one of the fastest, most aggressive death metal bands out there. Their blend of thrashy death metal that is just speedy as hell is back. and oh my god, this absolutely whoops ass. Incineration of the Gods might be one of the catchiest songs they have written in recent memory. This is on par with Tiggy at whatever it was, I can't remember that title, but that is one of my favorite Vader albums in terms of like their recent output. This is back on that level. I think possibly even more aggressive though. It's a short album, but it is pretty much just a non-stop blazing trail over your eardrums the entire time. Never stops to really take much of a break. If it does take a break, it's still gonna just speed up again and beat the hell out of you. Awesome album. Welcome back, Vader. I saw a lot of this on tour. Actually, this was one of the last shows that I saw before the outbreak, and I'm glad I got a chance to see it because Vader rules once again. So definitely get this one if you already haven't. Proscription Conduit. Man, this one kind of came out of nowhere for me. This is the debut album from these guys. This is very atmospheric, very heavy black and death metal. Very similar to Behemoth in terms of like the overall sound, but oh my god, these guys craft some very heavy hooks. Like this is Behemoth more like circa Evangelion, Demigod, the Apostasy, except these guys have a little bit more groove and the atmosphere in here is just wall-to-wall dissonance and just evil and awesome. This is black and death metal done extremely well. I love this. I'm a fan of this band already. I'm looking forward to future releases already. And this just came out, I believe, in October. So yeah, this one climbed up the list. I could not stop jamming it. The songs are infectious and haunting and heavier than hell, and I strongly recommend checking this one out. Plus, this might be the creepiest cover I think I've seen this year. It's pretty just, I don't know, it's unsettling. Either way, check this album out. It's absolutely amazing. Kvelertak Splid. No idea what Splid means. I have no idea what a good chunk of these song titles mean because they're all in, I believe, Norwegian. There are a couple in English, and they actually do feature Troy Sanders on one, Crack of Doom. This band is one of the perfect examples of a band able to blend a lot of different styles and make it all work in some sort of like homogenized style of theirs. You get flat out rock, you get thrash metal, you get black metal. There are spots of like kind of doomy stuff. It's just a flat out amazing mix of different things, and the songs are so well crafted. I don't even know how to pronounce this one right. Bratbrun, my favorite song I think they've ever done. It's 7 minutes of just flat out rock, but with thrash riffs. And my god, they have one of the prettiest choruses on there, and I think it's sung by every member. I think they even have 3 guitarists, and it works. It's awesome. They all contribute in different ways. You get great layered melodies. This is one of the most fun releases I've listened to this year, and Kvelertak is uniquely them. There really isn't another band that sounds like this, and that is really refreshing in metal and heavy music in general. So if you haven't checked out this release, I strongly recommend it just because it's its own thing, and pretty much all their albums are their own thing. There is only one Kvelertak, at least I think so. Again, I still have no idea what most of this means, but it's an awesome album, and you should definitely check it out. Necrot Mortal. Sophomore release from these guys, and they came out swinging with another slab of awesome old school death metal. Riffy as hell, scorching lead work once again. This is one of the best 3 pieces in death metal right now. I mean, there's a lot of other really good ones too, but these guys are consistent, granted over the course of 2 albums, but amazing releases. These guys know how to craft a good hook and keep it brutal throughout. The title track alone is just hook after hook after hook, and I believe it's 8 minutes long, maybe longer. I can't remember, but I remember I love every single song on here because every single song screams everything I love about death metal, both when I initially got into it and what I love now, which is also kind of similar to the stuff that I got into when I was a teen. Never mind. Flat out killer death metal. That's exactly what I wanted from these guys, and they absolutely delivered. Not sure if it surpasses Blood Offering, but it's at least on the same level, and that's awesome. So definitely check this out. Pyre, Chained to Ossuaries. This is one I kind of picked up on a whim. I jammed a couple of tracks, and I absolutely loved it. This is a death metal band from St. Petersburg, Russia, and their style is, well, absolutely awesome. It's a blend of old school death metal, a little bit of Swedish death metal because they have a bit of that buzzsaw tone, but it's a little bit muddier, which is really cool. It doesn't quite crackle, but they like to throw in tons of thrash influence. At least like very thrashy death metal, like, you know, Vader and Pestilence, at least the early Pestilence stuff. Killer riffs, great hooks. I could not stop jamming this. This has one of the like biggest snares I think I've heard in a death metal album in a while. Like it's just this big thwack, and it's very reverby. I don't know, I loved pretty much everything about this, and I loved all the stuff that it reminded me of. And it's a great blend of, again, like very groove-laden death metal and very thrashy death metal. Fiercely old school and absolutely amazing. Definitely check this out. Intronaut, Fluid Existential Inversions. I don't even know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but it made sense to them, and this is yet another brilliant offering from Intronaut, which pretty much only seem to offer really good albums. I can't think of an album of theirs that I don't like. But this one I wasn't sure of because their longtime drummer Danny Walker has left the band for a whole bunch of different reasons. Well, mainly one. We're not going to go into it. But they got Alex Rittinger, and I was like, well, he seems like to be a good guy to replace it. And the drum work is very important on this because everything is so intricate. The time signatures are absolutely nuts. But the thing they're able to do is deliver really catchy melodies and all that technical play. That can be kind of difficult because sometimes bands get lost in all the technical flurry and they forget to write hooks, and these guys never seem to. It's all layered. It's very jazz fusion-y. There's elements of stuff like Mastodon and Cynic. And sometimes these guys just deliver a flat-out riff that gets stuck in your head that they don't bother around with. I believe Pangloss, that was the big riffy song on here, and it got stuck in my head. It's one of the catchiest riffs I've heard from these guys, and generally I'm more all about like an entire song because all their songs seem like a very strange, probably mescaline-induced journey. I don't know if they do that, but it seems like it would kind of fit, at least with the album covers. But that song just delivered in terms of raw heaviness, and I just love this band. These guys write incredible stuff, and once again, they knocked it out of the park. Awesome release. Definitely check it out, especially if you want to get proggy and nerdy and psychedelic. All that's here. Tombs, Under Sullen Skies. Another late arrival, but as soon as I heard it, I pretty much knew this was going to be on my year-end list. This is probably Tombs' most ambitious offering. It's over an hour long, but it is not dull. Every single song seems to be different too. I love the fact that they explored a lot of different sounds, a lot of different modes. You have like death doom and post-metal, black metal, death metal, touches of thrash. And it's interesting because certain songs will follow one extreme. Like the black metal songs on here are fiercely black metal. They're very atmospheric. They're very cold and grim. The death metal songs are appropriately chuggy. There's lots of breakdowns and heavy stuff in there. There's even some hardcore nods. This is an absolutely incredible album, and this is definitely one I would say listen to in its entirety in one sitting if you have an hour and I think like 5 minutes to kill. Secrets of the Black Sun. That might be the big standout because that is the gloomiest thing they may have written. And these guys write a lot of gloomy material. It is an absolutely jaw-dropping album. I was pretty much blown away, and I love all their previous works, but I think this may take the cake for them. Either way, definitely check this out. This is quite the listening experience. Ulcerate, Stare into Death and Be Still. I don't think I can describe this album without using the word dissonance a lot, and I know I use the word dissonance a lot. Actually, someone commented that they should make a drinking game every time I say dissonance, and well, I'm going to say it because that is what Ulcerate does well, dissonant melodies, and they do it like really no one else. They are uniquely them. They have a great blend of atmosphere and melody and jaw-dropping drum work. I believe his name is Jamie St. Mark. I know Jammin' John definitely knows his name. I think it is Jamie St. Mark. Either way, that man is insane. The fills, the blast beats, the turnovers, the guy is an absolute machine, and this is just wall-to-wall, gloomy, atmospheric. It's oppressive, it's haunting. This album is quite the experience to listen to, and the more I listened to it, the more it grew on me. Not that it really needed to because I love this band. But this, I think, might be their most tuneful offering. I don't know. It's definitely more melodic, but it's melodic in their way, which is dissonance. Take a shot. I like albums that are an experience, especially when it comes down to something that might be considered more proggy or sort of pushing the limits of like contemporary metal or whatnot. This is that album. This is a over-the-top experience in terms of just atmosphere and, again, dissonance. If you haven't listened to this, you have missed out on a gem this year. Sorcerer, Lamenting of the Innocents. This is, I believe, their third album, and I still need to get their second album, but this is so far my favorite one. This is absolutely incredible, epic doom metal slash, I guess, power metal. I don't know. I really wouldn't call it power metal because it keeps that doom-laden feel. This has some of the best vocals I think I've heard this year. Their frontman, I believe his name is Anders, has such an amazing vocal range, and God, every word he says, he just seems like he fits the song, like he's actually there. The title track on this has one of the best choruses I think I've heard this year. But, I mean, every single song on here, Age of the Damned, there's like gloomy gothic atmosphere throughout. The riffs are heavy, the guitar leads are incredible, there's great trade-offs. Well-constructed songs. The songwriting is just absolutely brilliant on this. I think I slept on their second release too much, and I still need to sit down and jam it, and eventually I'm going to have to get it, because if it's anything like this, well, it should have been probably on my year-end list whenever that one came out. Absolutely amazing release. They captured both the epic and the doom, and it never felt campy. It felt sincere and well-written. You even have Johan from Candlemass on here doing a duet, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's somewhere between a ballad and a dirge, but it doesn't matter because it's absolutely amazing. Check this album out if you slept on it, because I shouldn't have slept on their second one. I didn't sleep on this one. I'm very happy that I didn't. Incantation, Sect of Vile Divinities. Incantation does Incantation yet again, and they did it amazingly. I like this one better than their last release. This album is intense. It has all those death doom breaks. John McEntee sounds like a demon gargling lava and battery acid. Everything about this album is heavier than hell, but I think one of the main things I loved on this is the lead work on here I thought was really just scorching. John McEntee's guitar work alone is great, but the lead play from the other guitarist, whom I can't remember right now, is amazing, and I think it really kind of adds a lot to this. But this is Incantation doing what Incantation does, and they did it well. Once again, this is an absolutely amazing album. If you love Incantation, you probably already own this, or you pre-ordered it like I did, and hopefully you got a t-shirt with it, because that t-shirt was really cool. Definitely check this out if you haven't heard it. I can't imagine if you watch this channel you haven't heard this, because it's Incantation. If you love death metal, there's a damn good chance you love this band. For a reason. They're amazing. And finally, at number 11, I wasn't counting, but luckily the image next to me is, we have Caustic Wound, Death Posture. This is one of my favorite grind releases slash death grind that came out this year. Now, this is pretty much a supergroup side project that has members of Cerebral Rot in there, and I believe Mortiferum. And they're more known for Death Doom, and they should be, because that's definitely what they play. This is grindcore. This is very old school grindcore. This pretty much screams Napalm Death Scum and Bolt Throwers, In Battle There Is No Law. It has that sort of style. The production's nice and murky. It sounds like it came out in 1987, and if it did, it probably would have just destroyed everyone's senses. Big terrorizer feel to it. The songs are short, they're brutal, and these guys love catchy riffs and groovy breakdowns, so it's not just a wall of blast beats. I mean, there's still plenty of that. This album is a non-stop beatdown from start to finish, and I played this one from start to finish a lot because I believe it's only about a half an hour long, but it's one of my favorite half an hours that I've listened to this year. Absolutely whoop-ass album. Definitely check this out. It's amazing. All right, well, that does it for 25 through 11. And the next video, we will be on to my top 10 of 2020. The year that has pretty much taken a giant shit on the human race, but somehow given us a really good soundtrack. That's the tagline for 2020 on this one. I'm going to say horrible things about 2020 throughout these. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We will catch you later.